Dear friends, welcome to the latest episode of the True Waters podcast. My name is Nga. I grew up in northern Vietnam and have been living elsewhere since I was 23. This series is a way for me to journal the humble insights I've gathered along the way. These insights are personal to my being, and I hope they might find some meaning in your life as well. May I be happy. May I be free from pain and suffering. May I live in peace and well-being. And may I be free. May you be happy. May you be free from pain and suffering. May you live in peace and well-being. And may you be free. Hi, I'm glad we're here again. Lately, I've been in a season of transition, and whenever I find myself between places, I tend to become more reflective. My thoughts drift back to when I was living in Korea. About 4 years ago, while I was living in Daegu, a southern city in Korea, to attend a Korean language program, I would take the opportunity to travel to nearby coastal cities like Busan and Pohang with my classmates. And thanks to Korea's convenient and affordable public transportation, we were able to take day trips to these cities quite easily. I remember how excited we all were to finally make it to the coast, especially during the COVID period. Since Daegu isn't near the coast, these trips felt like something new and refreshing for all of us. When we came to Busan, we visited a Buddhist temple called Haedong Yeongkungsa, which is said to be the most beautiful temple in Korea. Now, I'm not sure if that's true, but the scenery there was truly stunning, as the temple rests peacefully on a cliff overlooking the ocean. There, it was probably the first time I had ever caught sight of a full moon rising in broad daylight above the vast blue sea. We happened to visit when the moon was full, but I think we were lucky too. Then, a year later, I moved to Suwon, a northern city just south of Seoul, for my graduate program. Again, Suwon isn't located near the sea either. So on weekends and during school breaks, I would hop on buses and subways to the Han River parks and to northern coastal cities like Incheon or Ansan or Gangneung. I was just mesmerized by the beauty of the deep blue sea beneath Korea's clear and sunny skies, whether in summer or in winter. There is something about the sea there that felt super calm and spacious and liberating. And perhaps because of those experiences, even before graduating from grad school, I had already dreamt of settling down in a coastal city one day. In fact, after graduation, I did make concrete plans and put in the effort to move to Da Nang, a coastal city in central Vietnam. I felt completely ready to begin a new chapter there. But then I injured my arm and everything changed. Because of that, I had to put the plans on hold and eventually abandon the idea of living in Da Nang altogether. But then something led me here, to Phu Yên, a coastal province more than 400 kilometers south of Da Nang and now part of Đắk Lắk province. In my effort to heal my body and mind, instead of a coastal city, I found myself in a small fishing village by the sea. At first, I hadn't planned to live so close to the sea. However, as fate would have it, my first homestay overlooked the ocean, and I didn't even expect the sea here to be so clear and beautiful, but it was, which reminded me very much of the Korean coast I had been to. It was late summer when I arrived here, and at the time, I didn't know how to swim. So I mostly stayed close to the shore and let the sea water wash over me, believing that it might help to heal my skin and muscle problems. But the people I had just met here were incredibly kind, and they patiently guided me how to swim. I never really learned how to swim in the end, unfortunately. However, with their help, I did manage to float on the sea surface a few times, and each time felt like a moment of oneness. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was truly flowing as one with the ocean, effortlessly. The energy of the sea really brought me outside and gave me the momentum I needed to kickstart my recovery. I remember those summer days when I could spend the entire days by the shore. From early morning, I'd wake up and walk to the shore to greet the sunrise. To start the day, I'd practice some gentle yoga or qigong movements on the beach before heading out to the local market. On days without errands, I'd put on my life jacket and follow my neighbors from the homestay who were confident swimmers for an early morning swim. Some late mornings were for quiet walks along the shore when there were fewer people around, and most afternoons were spent by the sea. At the time, I was taking a kind of herbal medicine that required long and careful preparation. So on days when I had to cook the medicine, by the time the afternoon came, I only had enough time and energy for sitting meditation on the shore or a quiet walk along the coast. There were days when I felt strong and alive, but there were hard days too. It is when my stomach problems flared up and lasted for hours. Sometimes half a day, sometimes the whole day. On days like those, I honestly did not feel like going into the water or even walking along the shore. So I would just sit quietly on the shore and just follow my breath. And as I watched my breath rising and falling, just like the waves lapping and retreating from the shore, every time, before I knew it, the pain already began to lose its grip. Apart from the sea colors, there were many other things here that reminded me of my time in Korea. The crisp air, the sunny weather, the clear sky, the hazy mountains, the radiant moon and stars, and the vivid colors of the flowers. At first, I thought that was why it did not take long for Fu Yin to grow on me. But there was something more about this place. And I think it is the people. From my observations, the people here, young and old alike, truly seem to enjoy themselves at the beach. Small kids rode the rolling waves, bursting with laughter. Older kids flew kites and played volleyball on the beach. Young folks swam, dove, and paddled out on their boards. Aunties and uncles or in Korean, ajumas and ajashi, swam, chatted, and laughed. Grandmas and grandpas exercises along the shore, and some even buried their bodies in the sand. Friends picnicked in makeshift huts along the shore, sitting or lying down, chatting, or simply enjoying the ocean breeze. Families brought their dinners to the shore, laying out nothing but a small mat. They appeared to need very little, just being there and relying on the sea. More than that, the people here were incredibly kind to me, even when I could hardly understand their accent. There's a word in Vietnamese, tình, or thong in Korean. I don't know how to translate it into English without losing its nuance. Maybe warmth? Maybe kindness? Maybe something beyond both. I think tình captures exactly the way people treat one another here. Of course, not everyone was kind, but I met so many people whose warmth you don't just see, but truly feel. More than once, locals have stopped to help me when my motorbike broke down, asking for nothing in return. The kids here welcomed me and hung out with me as if I were related to them. Neighbors drifted in and out of each other's homes at mealtimes, not as guests, but as family. It feels as though there are very few walls between people. The way of life here has always been simple, and perhaps that simplicity makes it easier for people to be more open and genuine with one another. About the sea here, there is something profoundly abundant and generous, nourishing and uplifting about her that I can't capture in words. It was here that I learned to sit with myself, to open my heart, and bit by bit to walk on my own 2 feet and smile again. Actually, I jotted down these thoughts while lying on the sand, not in a fancy cafe, not in a well-lit room. And somehow, I felt like there's no better place to do it than right here. By the shore, under the sun, in the spring breeze, as the emerald waves rolled gently on the sand. As the chapter closes, I vow to carry the warmth of the people here and the love of the sea into my next seasons in the woods. Dear friends, I hope you enjoy the episode. Among all the content out there, thank you for slowing down and listening. That alone already means a lot to me. If you like to support this podcast, you can subscribe to the channel. And if you're able, you can buy me a tea through the PayPal link in the description below. Your support in any form is deeply appreciated. I hope you stay well. See you next time.